You know, sometimes I forget that this little flying pest, and I love her, don't get it wrong, but Reimer's, I can sometimes forget she's a demon lord, and the fact that a part of this slime episode was her and Trainee just casually committing crimes. The fact that a demon lord casually wandered in, set up shop, and said, hey, I'ma live here. And when the guards are like, hey, you can't casually do that, it's probably a war crime of some way, and if not, you're just breaking treaties and laws. And then Trainee knocks their bitch ass out, and Rimuru comes in and he's like, Nani? Tempest has to be the weirdest nation from anyone looking in from the outside. The way Rimuru can just casually say and do things that leave people flabbergasted, the fact that he's at such a position now, and the fact that he can just casually invite Milim of all characters to just come and do things, and people will just be like, wait, are you serious? Like, okay. But it's the fact that if you explain what happened to anyone in this world outside of that situation, it's going to sound like, okay, a demon lord invaded another demon lord's place, knocked out their guards, and Rimuru patted her on the back. But we know from our perspective that they're just pals and it works, but it's like, that just made it like the best. I loved it. I have full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see my full length of thought to any of these slime episodes. It's over there exclusively. Now, this episode confirms something that I heavily suspected after last week, but I think after seeing it in this episode, it's definitely true. And that is, I think the big difference in why the meetings that we saw in last week's episode, or even in this episode, are so much more enjoyable than that of a majority of what we had in Cour 1. Now, to recap, in case you're new to the channel, I liked Cour 1, but I would say Season 1 and Season 2 stomped on Cour 1 of Season 3. I wouldn't deny that in the slightest, and I think by the end of the past couple of episodes of meetings, it lasted too long because it was boring directing, it really wasn't visually impressive, and it just eventually got repetitive. And I think the difference that I'm now realizing is that I think for me and many people, just based on the fact that I saw a lot of positivity last week, I was expecting very little because I'm expecting, okay, if there's more meetings, people are just going to be salty. And I was seeing people saying, oh, this gave me the most, like, Slime Diaries feel. I actually thought it was a lot more fun. It just very much gave me the vibe that people more or less were, like, kind of feeling what I was feeling about last week. And I think after seeing now another episode in this style, the answer is, it's a difference between political meetings on the tactic side, so battle plans, stuff like that, and the debates and meetings on the economic side, so trading and market routes, or where we're going to set up shop. And I really feel like that's the difference. Now, Cour 2 feels like it's produced by a different studio. I don't know the background details, I assume this is still the same team, but it is a night and day difference between these past two episodes and Cour 1. Cour 1 didn't look bad, but Cour 1 was a lot more stiff, a lot more bland and boring, and this should just be popping full of life. I don't know, it's kind of like the difference in a weird way. I'm not sure if this is going to make sense, but you know how when live action actors, you can tell they dislike a script, and the performance is like, okay, the performance is still good, but you can tell they probably didn't really vibe with it, versus a script that just makes them have fun. Now, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from the characters. Now, obviously the characters aren't real, and the VA performances are still identical, but it just feels like this is a more fun situation for the characters, and in return, the production just kind of has that vibe. Rimuru and everyone is just a lot more goofy and bouncy, and it makes you click in and say, okay, these episodes don't feel dry. Now, for me, I liked Cour 1, but even if by the end of Cour 1, like previous to the whole Hinata stuff kicking off, even I was like, damn, like, okay, this is actually, even for me, getting a bit too much. But meetings are important, meetings are crucial, and it's always been a meeting-driven show. But I think the big difference is now that we're in such political situations, a lot of times they focus so heavy on the tactics, and I think that's where it kind of slips off, because you can show me whether it's this Empress talking, and just the idea of going over Tempest and why Tempest is in such a crucial location and how it connects to literally everything. And, you know, the worry of giving a Demon Lord essentially a timeless contract that would just benefit them for so long. That stuff's really fun and interesting. The idea of talking about where we're going to set up shop, what we're going to build, all these things are really fun. on top of just the ridiculousness of some goblin leader just standing there disappointed as a demon lord tried to casually set up shop, and he's like, nah. I'm surprised he didn't whack her with that giant hammer with the way he was giving me that aura. But like, I think that's probably what it is, and I haven't seen a lot of discussion on the difference of the types of meetings. I just saw a lot of last week saying, damn, where was this vibe in Cour 1? I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But I think that's what it is, because when you look at Cour 1, it was, well, a lot of tactics. Okay, here's the plan, we're gonna attack like this, they're gonna attack like this. And I think people just eventually got bored because, while yes, it was all still important conversations, it was just more of the same every single week for like 4 or 5 weeks. Where with this, it's like, okay, even though it's still just meetings of talking about, okay, who's trading with this, how we're gonna build this, there's so many different characters, there's so many different situations, and while I do think last week was better produced, because like last week was just on some drugs, man, like they inserted some steroids into the episode because it had no right to be as well produced as it. But even this episode does feel like there's more charisma and personality about the directing, and it makes it feel so much better. And I think that's what it is. It's just a difference of the meetings being political on the economic side versus the tactic side. And honestly, I feel like most fans usually prefer the tactic side meetings, but I think Slime is way better with the economic side. But maybe that's just me. That's definitely question of the week. Do you agree with why the meetings are feeling better? Not only just because of the better produced episodes, but also because it's focusing more on just fun subject matter versus we gonna attack here, they gonna attack here, this is their plan, this is our plan, because that really is the vibe I'm getting. But like, when you look at this episode, there's just so many little fun moments, like the fact of what Rammers did, or just all these little situations and the conversations about it. I don't know, like, I'm really excited to see where Tempest is gonna go, because Tempest is not only an anomaly for this world, given the connections Rimuru's made, but Rimuru is actually very intelligent with how he's setting Tempest up for massive success, but obviously there's some skepticism, there's some pushback, and there's going to be some major chaos along the way. But that Colosseum and his, week-long adventure to announce himself as Demon Lord is going to provide for probably some chaos, but also some insane fun, and from what I'm hearing from source readers, this should be a very fun arc that maybe isn't as explosive as some of the stuff from the past, but I think it definitely is going to hit a vibe that a lot of people are going to enjoy. But that's enough rambling from me. Let me know what you thought, especially on what I brought up, because I had a suspicion after last week, but after seeing this latest episode, it definitely confirmed it for me that the economic meetings are so much better than the tactics. But I mean, if the tactics are going to be an episode or two, it's a bit different, but given how Cour 1 handled it, that was too much for even a diehard TenSura fan like me. So let me know if you agree or disagree, or you have a different opinion on why these episodes are popping off so well, or maybe you dislike them. Let me know down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alrighty, so today we have Azop, Eds, Alunar, Ben Liu, Devin Samuel, Taco Tuesday, and we also have Benjamin Henderson. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.